Hello viewers, in the last two videos we studied about two important tumor suppressor genes, the RB gene, the TP53 gene. In today's video we will be studying about few more tumor suppressor gene, starting with the APC gene. APC is gatekeeper of colonic neoplasia and it is implicated in the pathogenesis of colonic tumors. Germline loss of function mutations involving the APC locus on chromosome 5q21 are associated with familial adenomatous polyposis, which is autosomal dominant disorder in which individuals who inherit a mutated copy of APC, they develop adenomatous polyps in the colon in their teens or in 20s, and one or more of these polyps, they eventually undergo malignant transformation and become colonic carcinomas. And for the colonic adenomas to develop, there has to be loss of both the copies of APC. And for carcinoma to develop, there has to be accumulation of additional mutations. The 70 to 80% of non-familial colorectal carcinoma and sporadic adenomas, they have acquired defect in both the APC genes. Now, APC is a component of the WNT signaling pathway, which has a major role in controlling the cellular growth and differentiation during embryonic development. Now, in WNT signaling, the WNT molecules, they bind to the cell surface receptor of the frizzled family. These are FRZ receptors. Then signaling occurs. The main is the APC, the signaling involving the APC and the beta-catenin. So what happens when there is no WNT signaling or in the resting cell? The APC, it binds to beta-catenin and forms a destruction complex, which leads to the proteasomal degradation of beta-catenin. So the role of APC is to control the activity of beta-catenin. So this, due to this destruction complex, there is degradation of the beta-catenin and it is not available to translocate to the nucleus for further action. Now what happens when there is WNT signaling? Now this signaling, it blocks the formation of the destruction complex. So destruction complex doesn't form and beta-catenin is free to translocate to the nucleus. From the cytoplasm, it goes to the nucleus and it forms a transcription activation complex by binding to TCF. TCF is a DNA binding factor, and when this complex is formed, this leads to upregulation of several growth promoting genes including MYC, cyclin and other growth promoting gene, and this leads to proliferation of the colonic epithelial cells. Now what happens when there is loss of function of APC or the cell with mutated APC? So loss of APC function disrupts the destruction complex. So this destruction complex doesn't form and beta-catenin is available and there is upregulation of the genes that are regulated by beta-catenin. There is increase in MYC, cyclin. Now in some colonic tumors there is no mutation in the APC, but there is mutation in the beta-catenin. So when there is beta-catenin is a proto-oncogene. When there is mutation, gain of function mutation in beta-catenin, then it becomes resistant to the degradation by the APC. This leads to accumulation of beta-catenin and upregulation of the target genes. And the gain of function mutation in beta-catenin are seen in 20% of hepatocellular carcinomas. So the tumor with mutated APC behaves as if it is continuously being stimulated by WNT. And also the cells that do not have mutation in APC, if there is mutation in the beta-catenin, even then the result will be the same. There will be proliferation of the cell. So gain of function mutation in beta-catenin and loss of function mutation in APC. They will lead to proliferation of the cells. Now let us now study about second tumor suppressor gene in today's video, E-cadherin. E-cadherin is cell surface protein that maintains intercellular adhesiveness, and beta-catenin binds to the cytoplasmic tail of the E-cadherin. So here beta-catenin binds the cytoplasmic tail of E-cadherin, and germline loss of function mutations of E-cadherin gene, this is CDH1, are associated with familial gastric carcinomas, and a proportion of sporadic gastric carcinomas also show loss of function mutation in the E-cadherin gene. So normally the loss of cell-cell contact as occurs in epithelial wounding or injury disrupts the interaction between E-cadherin and beta-catenin. So this beta-catenin, it becomes free and it translocates to the nucleus, and this leads to increased expression of genes that promote proliferation, for example MYC, cyclin, and this is required for normal wound healing. And as the wound heals, there is re-establishment of E-cadherin contacts. This leads to sequestration of beta-catenin at the membrane and reduces the proliferative signaling. So these cells are contact inhibited, and this loss of contact inhibition is an important characteristic of various carcinomas. Reduced surface expression of E-cadherin is seen in carcinoma esophagus, colon, breast, ovary, prostate, and loss of E-cadherin also contributes to malignant phenotype by easy disaggregation of cells which can invade locally or metastasize. Now let us see how CDKN2A acts as tumor suppressor gene. Next is the CDKN2A gene. It encodes two products, P16INK4A and P14ARF. P16INK4A is cyclin dependent kinase inhibitor. It reinforces G1 to S checkpoint by inhibiting CDK4 cyclin D complex mediated phosphorylation of RB. When this complex is inhibited, the RB remains in hypophosphorylated state and it applies brake to the cell cycle progression. P14ARF activates the P53 pathway. It binds MDM2 and prevent the destruction of P53 by MDN2. P16 also induces cellular senescence, and germline mutations in CDKN2A are seen in familial forms of melanoma, and sporadic mutations are seen in bladder carcinoma, head and neck tumor, acute lymphoblastic leukemia, and cholangiocarcinoma. In cervical carcinoma, P16 is silenced by hypermethylation rather than mutation. Next is the TGF-beta pathway. TGF-beta is a potent inhibitor of proliferation. It binds to the TGF-beta receptor, and this stimulates intracellular signals involving transcriptional regulators of the SMAD protein family. And these signals then turn on the anti-proliferative genes, for example CDK inhibitors, and turn off proliferative genes, for example MYC, cyclin, CDK. This leads to decreased RB phosphorylation and cell cycle arrest. Now, loss of function mutation in TGF-beta signaling pathway, these are seen in various cancers, and these can occur in two forms: mutations affecting the TGF-beta receptor. This is seen in carcinoma colon, stomach, and endometrium, and mutational inactivation of SMAD4. The mutations can involve the receptor as well as the TGF-beta signaling pathway. So, mutational inactivation of SMAD4 is seen in pancreatic carcinoma. SMAD4 is activator of these anti-proliferative genes and inactivator of the proliferative genes. Next is PTEN gene. PTEN or phosphatase and tensin homologue. It is a membrane-associated phosphatase encoded by gene on chromosome 10q23, and PTEN inhibits PI3K-AKT signaling. And PTEN is mutated in Cowden syndrome. It is autosomal dominant disorder, and it is associated with benign growths, skin appendage tumors, and there is increased incidence of epithelial cancers, breast, endometrium, thyroid cancers. Next is the VHL, von Hippel-Lindau gene, which is present on chromosome 3p, and germline loss of function mutations is seen in hereditary renal cell carcinoma, and somatic mutations of VHL are seen in a subset of sporadic renal cell carcinoma. And VHL, how it functions? VHL is a component of protein complex that covalently links the ubiquitin chain to a specific protein substrate, and this promotes degradation by proteasome. The hypoxia inducible transcription factor 1 alpha, it is a critical substrate of ubiquitin ligase. In normal oxygen conditions, the hypoxia inducible factor 1 alpha is hydroxylated and it binds to VHL, leading to ubiquitination and degradation. This is under normal oxygen conditions. And in hypoxia, no hydroxylation reaction occurs, and this factor, hypoxia inducible factor, escapes degradation and it accumulates in the cell, and this turns on target genes encoding vascular endothelial growth factor, which is important angiogenic growth factor, platelet derived growth factor, which is mitogen, GLUT1, which is a glucose transporter, and several glycolytic enzymes, and these factors contribute to Warburg metabolism. We will be studying about Warburg metabolism in the next video. Now, loss of function mutation in VHL prevent the degradation of hypoxia inducible factor 1 alpha even in normal oxygen conditions, and this lead to increased angiogenic growth factors and altered cellular metabolism which favor proliferation. Next is the STK11. It encodes serine threonine kinase, which is a regulator of cellular metabolism, and germline loss of function mutations are seen in Peutz-Jeghers syndrome, which is autosomal dominant disorder associated with benign polyps in GIT, and there is increased risk of multiple epithelial cancers. So in this video we studied about all these tumor suppressor genes, and in the next video we will study about Warburg metabolism. I hope the video was useful. For more such videos, please subscribe my channel and do not forget to like and share my videos. Thanks for watching.